Langston Hughes. She's not here right now. So instead of wasting time, I mean, you guys can see the chat, but we can talk about something that I think is relevant to what we're doing. It's up to you. Want to talk about yourself? You want to talk to me? Someone said, let's talk. So I just want to say that I'm you guys hear me? Is it too loud? So I'm very happy that we decided to do the work when we did, because as we see that affirmative action has been canceled on the federal level, and the person who brought the case in front of the Supreme Court, now they're going after every company that's doing the work that we're doing. They're trying to shut it down. And even though they don't have a case in some cases, they're scaring enough people to where they're stopping the work. And it's extremely important that we continue to do the work that we're doing. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. There might be some fear tactics, but that's something that we can't, come on. We've been through some stuff, right? And we're going to continue to go through some stuff as long as we got breath in our bodies. Why? Because our skin is a threat. If our skin wasn't a threat, they wouldn't come after us the way they come after us. So we got to figure out how we're going to come together despite our differences. We got to move our emotions to the side, and because we have to focus on a bigger goal. And the bigger goal is to move this work forward. So the lifespans can decrease and increase. So the generational wealth is increasing.
Yes, that's right.
Life expectancy is decreasing for us. Anybody know the life expectancy between blacks and whites? And I noticed it because I just went to a gala last week with a bunch of doctors who was trying to close the disparity gap. Anyone have a guess?
8 years.
30 years. 15.
23 years. And growing. Why? Why do you think that is? Someone said something? Health. Well, let's think about it. Why do you think black bodies have the higher health problems? Besides not having access. Stress. And what does stress do to the body? It absolutely breaks it down. Do you guys know that our lifespan can increase just as we have greenery? Just as we have greenery. So in New York and what was it, Manhattan? I think that's confusing. The Bronx and Manhattan, literally 5 minute drive from each other. Do you know in the winter, in the summertime, it's 10 degrees hotter in the Bronx than it is 10 minutes down the road? Because they got greenery. The Bronx don't. It's something as small as that that can keep us healthy. What else do you think can keep us healthy and keep us going?
Not having a trauma response. I said not having a trauma response.
Oh, listen, y'all. Y'all know that a lot of spaces are white spaces, correct? And you know, they just now working on spaces to where people of color can offload their generational trauma. We still hold that in our bodies. We need to know how to get that out of our body. Do anyone know how to get that out of your body? Raise your hand if you know how to get stress out of your body. Someone said education.
The arts.
The arts?
Sound bath.
Sound bath?
A sound bath.
A sound bath.
Essential oils. Knowledge of self.
Where?
Community.
Absolutely. Community and us coming together in numbers. Because as long as we feel isolated and separated and by ourselves, they can break us down that much faster. Something else I want to share there. Oh, yeah.
I said education because they just had a thing. I said education because they just had a report from Como News about obesity in African Americans and how African Americans die more disproportionately than anybody else because of obesity. But when I say education, we have to educate our people about what they buy in the store and what they eat, like McDonald's. I learned something about Armour Star meat, that little potted meat and little yam sausages and whatever. They put in that meat, they got sodium nitrate, and all this stuff. Do you know what sodium nitrate is? When I was in the Marines, a young man in the 70s, they put sodium nitrate in our food because another word for sodium nitrate is slang Iranian word is called saltpeter. So they would feed that to us young Marines or whatever, so we don't be walking around wanting to go get some lead and all of that. It was called saltpeter. They put that in the Armored Star product. African Americans go to McDonald's, eat all this greasy food, they're raised on fast food, and that stuff has so many chemicals, it gets in their genetic DNA. And they get fat and fat, and obesity is out of control. Education, holistically, we gotta look at it from front. And I'm Dr. Purpose, and trust me, I've been out here in the streets. Thank you.
There is one other thing that I really want to talk to you guys about, the difference between silence and voicelessness. Do you guys know the difference between silence and voicelessness? Silence, we ain't got a lot of time, I'm just going to tell you what it is. Silence is, you have a choice. You have a choice to speak up or not. Silence, voicelessness, is when your voice has been taken from you through surveillance, through oppression, through trauma, and just everything that you go through, and then you be scared to speak up. So here's another way to get this on your body. You have two choices. You can speak up and take the external consequences, or you can stay silent and ignore the internal consequences. Which one do you think is worse? Which one is worse?
Staying silent.
Staying silent is worse. Why? They're killing you from the inside out. Now, there may be some consequences from the outside, but you can get past that. Whatever shame, whatever guilt, whatever, you can get past that. But when you hold it inside, it takes that much longer for you to get it out of your body. So you have to speak your truth, no matter how hard it is, and don't allow nobody to take your narrative. If you say this is what you're feeling, this is what you're thinking, this is how you want things done, then let it be so. Don't let nobody come behind you and tell you that it's something other than like Colin Kaepernick. What did he say? He took a knee, and he was very upfront about why. The way America treats people of color. What did they do? They took his narrative. They said he's anti-American. He hates America. He hates the police. He said none of that. So let me tell you why they need to take their narrative and change it, so they can justify why they treat us the way they treat us. And as long as we stay silent, silence is consent. We gotta stop giving consent. We gotta start speaking up for ourselves, for what we believe in, no matter what you think the cost is gonna be. We don't know. So fear is false evidence appearing real. And we only make it real from here. And if we're scared going forward, it's because of what has happened prior to us getting to this point. Something bad happened in the past, we get scared that's gonna happen in the future. When you think about the past, that's where depression comes from. When you think about the future, that's where anxiety comes from. And then you don't trust yourself. And then you let other people lead you to believe what they need you to believe. And then you start believing what they really don't even know why. And 9 times out of 10, when people try to get you to believe what they need you to believe, it's to benefit them. It's never going to benefit you.
That's right.
So as I haven't told you, we're going to help them with your therapy. So we are a therapy right now. So then, Dr. Hardy, his first name escaped me. But Dr. Hardy speaks in depth about these issues that plague the Black community. And people, especially Black women, it's okay to be angry. We have, just like the other people got generational blessings or generational wealth, we got generational trauma.
That's right.
So it's okay for us to be angry. And then we again, are silent because we don't want nobody labeling us. Do you think I care about being labeled? I absolutely don't care about being labeled. Why? Because I'm free.
Amen.
And because I know who I am, everywhere I go, I belong. I go to a KK rally and know I belong. Ain't nobody ain't gonna stop me. I have some fears, but you will never know.
That's right.
You never let one hand know the other hand doing you get away with a lot of things. Is my hand wrong? Because I keep going. We're gonna do the whole program.
Psalm number 34, King David reads, I sought the Lord, and he heard me,
Yes.
and saved me from all my fears.
Yes.
The book that I have is a concordance of the Holy Bible that interprets those verses. And it says, when he David say all my fears, the fear of this, the fear of that, the fear, even people have fears of nothing but just fears. If psychologists could teach that Bible to people that they're trying to heal with all this paranoia and fear, I sought the Lord and he heard me and saved me from all my fears. And then you don't fear nothing out here like she was saying. Okay, I'm out here, folks.
Anything else with anybody else? Anyone have any questions about anything I can be of service to you tonight? Anything you struggle with, family struggle with? Ooh, you want to come up here? Yeah, me need a break, please. I got all right, my need, y'all.
Aerobics.
Oh.
Thank you, Queen. Listen, as people of color, there is a big stigma when it comes to mental health. If somebody says they're having a mental health problem, you cannot diagnose them as being crazy. All right? And in our culture, if you have a mental health problem, there's a difference between mental health and mental illness. Can I help somebody? So we'll be able to help our loved ones better if we understand what they're going through. Not just hear the words, but hear the person behind the words. It might just be a secret cry for help. So can we stop diagnosing? Ain't nobody went to school to be a lesson. They literally went to school. But if you have a family member that says they're going through a mental health crisis, don't put it on Facebook. Don't talk about them. How about embrace them with love and say, I'm going to walk through with you, and we're going to get through this together. Because that's who we are. We are kings and queens, and we help each other. We don't eat our own. We strengthen our own.
So, the sister said that she wanted to learn a little bit about the history of Langston Hughes. I can share something with you guys. My father is the founder of Langston Hughes. His name is Jeff Tucker. And there is no plaque. There is nothing about him on the website. There is nothing in the Seattle history about my father and what he did to negotiate with the rabbis that owned this business, or the church, excuse me. In 1971, they had a program called the Model Cities Program, where they were given a whole bunch of grants to inner city people. My father was 21 years old at that time and came up with a plan to have a performance arts center. Drafted that whole plan up and negotiated with the rabbis and created Langston Hughes. So that's the history of this building. And hey, I'm gonna have a petition. You guys want to sign the petition because I'm gonna make sure my father gets recognition for the work that he did. He's still alive right now, but not doing well. So get with me. We're gonna get a petition going. I'm tired of this.
Hey, contact historylink.org. Historylink.org. Contact them and give them your father's story. Historylink.org. Here is the
Okay, we're going to do one more, and then I have to introduce to somebody who can introduce my understanding at work until she's in here, so she's going to introduce Mr. Egan. No last girl.
Hey, I just want to say, I want to charge everyone in this room, especially the recipients of these different grants, that you work together. We need to rebuild the village. And we need to rebuild the village. We can't keep walking around with our hands out, expecting them to do something that they haven't done for generations. And we can't keep blaming them when we don't come together when we're supposed to. So we have an opportunity, we have a whole list of different organizations, different companies doing different things, network, support, and rebuild the village. Back in the day, before they did the Black Wall Street, before they did the other place that we were doing our own thing, before they destroyed it, we were doing what we needed to do for one another. So we got to get back to that. So when you got an opportunity, don't give them crap, you know what I'm saying, crap service. Come with a spirit of excellence. That's going to cause people to come back and want to support you. So step your game up, support people that look like you, and let's do it together, community, and stop waiting for them to do it for us.
And I'm walking down, I just want to let you know that they keep trying to change our history. They trying to say that black people came here as interns. We're talking about that whole thing.
Hi, my name is Frankie. I'm with Four Winds Foods. I'm of the Black Food Tribe in Canada, and I just wanted to say something that you said. Is anyone being triggered? Is anyone being triggered? Usually when people speak about the Bible and Jesus, I get triggered, but it's mostly when the white people speak of it, because I am a residential school survivor. My dad and my auntie were taken and heads were shaved, they were beaten, they were raped, and speaking of generational trauma, I have a generational trauma, I have childhood trauma from my mother, and I have my adult trauma from things that I've done to myself. And I am so grateful to be here and share space with each and every one of you. It's extremely important for us to stand together. I just felt my ancestors like, get up, Frankie, say something. So that's what I would say to you, say thank you all. I'm so proud to be here.
Oh, Lord, okay.
Hello everyone. My name is Sharon Irene Williams. I'm the former executive director of the Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas that is housed in this building. Former as in I ran it for 10 years and just left a few months ago. But for those of you who have never came into this building, I want you to know this is your house. And there are two wonderful leaders here that will operate, and their whole thing is to do the programming in this building for the city. Now, I want you to support Emily Arunga, who is the stand up for Langston. And then beside her in unity is my predecessor, the new executive director for the forum, Grantees. And so I just want to let y'all know that these two young people right here are ready to work with all of you. And when they do programming in here, y'all need to be here to support them.
And thank you for participating. And one last thing, people don't treat you how they see you, so show up. Show up. Thank you. You see all this beautiful natural energy on this background? Thank you. We're going to do the land acknowledgement. That didn't happen before we started. So thank you for your patience to do this land acknowledgement. Just wait on me, because I was making sure we don't do our ancestral acknowledgement the proper way as well.
Kansiaga, taas meidän tasapäävät. Memoriilas Samoa, Escapino, University. Thank you, welcome and good evening. My name is Scott Bingham. I am Nest Person Unipu. My Nest Person name is Samoa, which roughly translates to Black Spot One Way that my grandfather bestowed upon me. And I was asked to do the land acknowledgement, which I usually ask that hopefully a non-leader would do it, but I feel I can
some justice here for us in sharing this. And just want to thank the Gathering Collaborative, what they are doing. The energy that's in this room right now is fantastic. And yes, it does take a village, and we're building that village. The colonizers came here, it was too much I, and we try to be competitive, but we need to come together and work together. And before I leave the land, I want us all to think about, where do we come from? Not the home that you left today, but where your ancestors came from. What land or lands did your ancestors come from? As we think back to, that's where we have our identity built into us. Today, many of us are multicultural, as many people sort of across this great earth have come together and shared with one another and raised families together. The United States of America was once considered the great melting pot, but now it's very rich with many diverse cultures. Unfortunately for the indigenous people, they try to strip that culture away from them. As my cousin, my relative up there shared, he went through the pain as they tried to get rid of the cultures. But let's not forget that this land that we're on today was referred to as Turtle Island by the indigenous peoples. And when we think about the land that we come from, I'm not just talking about the earth, I'm talking about the waters, the animals, the plants, the weather, the terrain, everything that makes the environment, the natural resources that the land provides, that shapes who the indigenous people were. Because as the great Chief Sahal, or Chief Seattle said, we belong to the earth does not belong to us. Because it is that land influence who we are, how we came from. I am Niku. I'm from the lands of the winding waters, which is now the Washington, Oregon, Idaho tri-state area. And the Niku ways, were passed on to me. So even though I'm away from the lands here in the city of Seattle, I am still Niku. And I'm trying my best to say Niku, not Nez first, because that was the name that was given to us by the colonists. Land development, acknowledging indigenous people of the land. It also reminds me of a quote of Chief Joseph, where he was talking to the colonizers, and he said, "Perhaps you think the Creator sent you here to dispose of us as you see fit. But thought you were sent by the Creator, I might be induced to think you had the right to dispose of me. Do not misunderstand me, but understand me fully with reverence to my affection for the land. I never sent the land, it was mine to do with as I choose. The one who has the right to dispose of it is the one who has created it. I claim the right to live on my land, and accord you the privilege to return yours. But yes, now we are a multicultural people. I am Niku, but my wife is Clinton and Mexican. So our daughters are Niku, Clinton, and Mexican. And we also have another girl who's Red Lake Ojibwe. So that makes us who we are. For the original people of this land we are on today here in Seattle, we must give thanks and acknowledge their past, present, and future contributions to our lives today. I acknowledge that we are guests upon the lands of the Duwamish, as visitors or residents in the city of Seattle, which gets its name from this Duwamish Chief Sahal, and whose descendants still reside in Seattle or relocated elsewhere, including the sovereign nations of the Muckleshoot, Tulalip, Suquamish, and other Coast Salish reservations. Seattle is home to many indigenous peoples of Turtle Island, who, despite assimilation policies, have persisted and adapted to their surroundings to be contemporary indigenous peoples. Katsiaya, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Again, for those who haven't had an opportunity to meet me, my name is Elijah Smith. I'm a Gathering Collaborative member from the beginning, like 2 years into this process. And now we're coming to this place of celebration, not only for our efforts of the process, but the work that the people we've done together as a collective to move some resources forward. If you ever do anything about me, I definitely center Black community in my advocacy for all. And the number one thing is I'm always trying to get the resources and give to the community because we know how to steward our money, we know what we need. So I'm just happy to be here. What I'd like to do next, thank you for your patience, is to bring up Dr. Marsha Runda. Dr. Marsha Runda, would you like to share a little bit about yourself? Or you want me to say something? Yes, this is our dean of the Diploma Campus of Evergreen College. we shepherd and steward, we take care of many of our children in our community for generations. And I got a chance to meet Ms. Marsha, to be honest, as a community person myself, learning about her books, seeing the great arts and things that she has brought. My kids have participated in the university, things that are brought here for education, summer camps, spring camps, these different things, as she was journeying through her process of education to get her PhD. So now she's also stewarding us through our ancestral acknowledgments through libation. And so she's here to share that with us, and I'll assist us here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. All right, Seattle, good afternoon. Good afternoon. We have to do this, Seattle. All right. It's my honor to address you very briefly in this libation. I bring you greetings from Hughes State College, Tacoma, where the founder, Dr. Maxine Mims, is serving God. 95 years young, and she's still making a difference right inside the school and throughout the community. And so I'd like to pour this libation. For me to do this, I'm going to need your help. We pour libation because we know we need to honor those who come before us. And what I will say is Ashe. When I say those words, Ashe, it's a Yoruba word in which I'm just speaking truth. So Ashe means truth is being spoken. We use these words. Can you help me with that? Ashe? Ashe. Thank you so much. And what this is oftentimes is a religious practice. I'm not doing this as a religious practice. I'm doing this as a revolutionary practice. Because in our history in this United States, we were told to forget our past and to forget who we were as a people. But we refuse to forget, and in remembering, we reclaim our power. And so as I continue to remember with these words, I hope you will join in with me by saying Ashe. Ashe. All right, you're going to help me. Thank you. All right, and Maisha has water. It's just pure water, and it will be poured into this plant that represents the earth. All right, and I'd like to begin at the beginning of time with Big Ganesh. You know, the little 4-foot-tall woman found in her oldest fossil remains in Ethiopia. Big Ganesh is what the Africans called her. The Europeans called her Lucy. And to this day, this is the oldest fossil remain we know, 3.2 million years old. So I'd like to pay homage to Big Ganesh. Ashe. Ashe. I also want to remember those people whose ancestors came from Africa, because in coming from Africa, we have to realize that's the beginning of civilization. And so it was there that the inventions such as fire, mathematics, geometry, agriculture, architecture, engineering, aeronautics were all found in Africa. And this is the secret that we are never told, that actually all properties of civilization were found in there. And so I really want to honor those ancestors. Ashe. Ashe. And then there was that fateful day when people were minding their business throughout the continent. They were caring for the very young, caring for the very old, tending to their gardens, when they were snatched from their homes, stolen. And this book that I wrote called The Stolen Ones and How They Were Missed was a story told to me by an elder in Kenya, East Africa. And I was with a group of African American women, and she said, "Where from Africa do you come from?" And we said, "Well, you know, we don't know exactly where from Africa we come from. We were taken from throughout the continent. Some people think just the West Coast. But we were taken from even the interior and dragged to the coastlines to serve the purposes of the transatlantic slave trade. today, and she gets an epiphany and said, oh, you are the stolen ones. She had never known who that was, but as a young girl, when she learned her descendant tree, she was known that there in 10 generations, some 10 generations back, there was the stolen ones. In her family, it was a young girl who had gone with her fruits and vegetables to the marketplace and just never came back home. What this elder wanted me to know was that they looked for her. They tried to find her. They felt very vulnerable about her loss. And that they came back after not weeks of search, but months of search. And they said, we're sorry, your daughter must be dead. And they mourned her death for many years until the traveler came and said, you know, I've been to the ocean waters and I've seen ships taking people away. And I think your daughter didn't die, but was taken into one of those ships and stolen to serve the purposes of the transatlantic slave trade. And then she looked at us and said, so you must be the stolen ones, returning home, welcome home. So, I want to honor, because it's Dr. John Henry Clark who says to us, great historian, that if the Atlantic Ocean was to dry up today, it would reveal a trail of bones, millions of bones. We estimate 3 times the people who actually made it over to the Americas, 3 times of those people perished in the Atlantic Ocean. And he says that if it dried up today, it would just reveal a trail of bones. Those would be the bones of our ancestors that did not make the voyage. And I'd like to wash a libation for them. Ashe. Ashe. But then there were those who made the voyage. And even though we have trauma today, we also were resilient. We knew that we had to hold our spirit tight and to survive and give birth to the next generation in hope that one day we would be able to say that racism is a public health crisis and something has to be done about it. And so we want to remember those ancestors who made that voyage, because we are the offspring of those who did make the voyage. And so I'd like to pour libation for them today, Ashe. Ashe. And in pouring libation, I remember that these United States have not been kind to our people. If you are coming from Native American soil, as this is all Native American soil, let us not forget that we stand on the land where our ancestors of Native Americans are the people whose land this is. And it's still the land of theirs. In fact, it is them who have kept the waterways, the fish, the pollution at bay, and created civilization when the Europeans got here. And so we want to really honor them and their ancestors and be grateful and thank them for the resilience of their survival. Ashe. Ashe. And there were also the Mexicans, whose land this was. We're talking about California, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, places where they dwelt. And no, Spanish was not their first language. They too had an indigenous language. And they held on to their indigenous practices. And they were pushed back until the United States could claim those lands. And we have continued to claim that land and call them aliens to this day. I want to honor the ancestors of those people today. Ashe. Ashe. And let us not forget the Asian populations. People brought over here from China who had to work the railroad, build the railroad from east to west. And when they got here, they were told to leave. They had no investment in these United States. And so they too were pushed away. In Tacoma, there is the Tacoma method. They had perfected how to get rid of Chinese in 48 hours, putting them on trains to leave and be taken away. What trauma we have experienced. So I want to really remember those, the ancestors of those people today. Ashe. Ashe. There were also coming into this country. And I remember the Polish and the jokes of the Polish, the Irish, the jokes of everyone who came. The thing about white people, they also learned after a generation the story of their superiority and learned to practice that. But there were those who resisted. Those are the people that we have to work with to change, to understand that we are all owners of this society. We have a stake in the society, and that we are one people coming together from all walks of life. Let no one be greater than another. Today we know that we have a home right here. We establish our home right here. So with that, I want you to think of any of the ancestors we have mentioned, the people that maybe in your family, people maybe that you've heard of who are your heroes, people of color, people of stature, people who stood up and fought and called their name today.
Elizabeth Bowles.
Ashe.
Katie Mae Brown.
Ashe.
Lucy Rebecca Clark.
Ashe.
Evelyn Dickerson.
Ashe.
Matilda Harris. Frank Reed.
Call their names.
Ashley Johnson. Geneva Tate.
Ashe.
Gloria. Glenn Alexander.
Ashe.
Gia Stewart.
Ashe.
Ahmad Hempstead. Emily Davis.
Betty Winston.
Ashe.
Thomas J. Clarkson.
Ashe.
Joe Brazil.
Benjamin Schwartz.
Marvin Sanders.
Ashe. Amazing. Yes.
Geraldine Smith.
Shamina Lyles.
Ashe. Ashe.
Virginia Taylor.
Ashe.
Alberta Canada.
Ashe.
Gerald Floyd.
Sheila Robinson. Carol Moss.
Ashe.
Gabby Mitchell.
Ashe.
Thomas Dixon.
Ashe.
Ella Mae Crawford.
City 48.
Ashe.
Tony Arden. Jordan Thurston.
Langston Hughes.
And let these names just continue to resound in your memory so that we can be strong as we move forward, taking our ancestors with us. We know that as we are here, there are 400 more ancestors filling these seats, filling this air. We need to bring them all in that we might be sanctioned, that we might be blessed for the work that we are about to do. And so I'd like to end in the words of Dr. Bernice Johnson Reed, who says, "To the spirit of those named and unnamed who stood and struggled before us and beside us, we offer this libation. Ashe, 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 Ashe,
So we just have a couple more things that we want to do. We understand that it's about 6:30.
Yes, so we have like 4 minutes left of the program, but we have to do more of the program, so feel free to excuse yourself as you see fit. But we're gonna keep going for those who want to stick around and get the rest of this.
We're not saying you have to stick around for 30 more minutes. We're just saying we have a few more things that we want to do. I want to just say that when you think about structural racism, when you think about systems, they have this way that we just move. And the way we move today, we are moving in the way that the Spirit has moved us. That's what I'm thinking, that's how I'm feeling. It's been a really good journey to the fellowship of healing and ministry. Is Ms. Josephine Howell still here? If you would bless us with a song.
Sing, Joseph.
Really quickly, I just want to encourage each and every one of us that now that you have been awarded or acknowledged, don't forget. Don't forget.
That's right.
Don't forget.
Speak it, Josie.
Just don't forget. There are those that are dependent on us. There are those that have an expectation for us. And we should have an expectation for ourselves. Because what you do when nobody else is looking is actually your character. Not when the lights on. Not when they put your name down. So there might be many of you that I don't know what your work is done because you don't have a full on every time you do it. But I'm walking with you. So that means when I come into the room, stop turning your head and putting your head down because you don't want to speak to me, my brother, my sister. Hold on, just a little while longer. Hey, hold on, just a little while longer. Hey, hold on, just a little while longer. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Hey, if I know just a little while longer. If I don't, hey, a little while longer. Hey, if I don't, just a little while longer, and everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Hey, pray on, just a little while longer. Pray, just a little while longer. Pray on, just a little while longer. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. I know just a little while, the longest gonna get tired, y'all. Just a little while longer, I know you need to fight on. Just a little while longer, and everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer.